All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about the book of James today. And what's wild is that it's the very first letter written in the New Testament. It's short, it's super direct, and it does not mess around. You could almost call it a field guide for a faith that actually does something.
And really, James built his entire letter around this one single provocative question. It's a question that kind of shakes the very foundation of what it means to have faith. Is it really enough to just believe the right things?
Now, to really get James's answer, you first have to picture the world he was writing to. This wasn't some letter written in a quiet, peaceful library. No, this was a message hammered out in the middle of chaos for a faith that was truly under fire.
And what's so fascinating here is the timing. James is writing this in the mid-40s AD. Think about that. That's just a little over a decade after the death and resurrection of Jesus. The church is brand new, it's vulnerable, and it's just been rocked by its first major wave of persecution after Stephen was martyred.
So who was he writing to? Well, Jewish Christians, and they were scattered all over the Roman Empire. And their life was anything but easy. I mean, you've got them being socially excluded from their communities, facing serious economic trouble, and divisions were already starting to pop up inside the church. And if that wasn't enough, they were dealing with outright persecution. This is the messy, high-pressure world James is speaking into.
So who's the guy writing this intense letter? Well, the New Testament has a few guys named James, but scholars are pretty certain this is James the Just, who is actually the brother of Jesus. And this makes his story even more incredible, because he started out as a total skeptic.
That's right. During Jesus' actual ministry on earth, his own family, James included, kind of thought he was a little out there. They didn't get it. They just didn't believe him.
But then, everything changed. The resurrection happened. The Apostle Paul actually tells us that the risen Jesus appeared personally to James, and that single encounter completely transformed him. The skeptic who doubted his own brother became a central pillar of the early church in Jerusalem, known for his wisdom and his righteousness.
In fact, his devotion was legendary. The church historian Eusebius wrote that James spent so much time on his knees praying for his people that his knees became as hard and calloused as a camel's. So this is the man, you know? This is the authority and the lived-out faith behind every single word in this letter.
Okay, let's talk about the big one. For centuries, people have read James and thought, wait a minute, is he contradicting the Apostle Paul? Right? Paul says we're saved by faith, but James seems to be saying it's our works that matter. So what's really going on here?
The thing is, they aren't answering the same question. It's so crucial to get this. Paul is asking, how is a person saved? And his answer is crystal clear. It's through faith in Jesus, not by anything we do. But James is asking a totally different question. He's asking, okay, so you have this real saving faith. What does it do? And his answer is just as clear. It produces action. It changes how you live. They're not in conflict. They're like two sides of the very same coin.
So if real faith always acts, what does that action even look like? Well, James doesn't leave it up to our imagination. He gives us a really practical breakdown, like an anatomy of a living, breathing faith.
This right here, this is probably his most famous line, and it's the heart of his whole message. A faith that doesn't lead to a changed life, that doesn't have tangible actions, it isn't just weak, it's a corpse. It has absolutely no life in it.
So, what are the vital signs? James gives us a super practical checklist. A living faith doesn't just put up with hard times, it finds purpose in them. It tames the tongue because it gets how much power our words have to build people up or tear them down. It has a real heart for the vulnerable. It's actively caring for people like orphans and widows. And finally, it's consistent. It doesn't just talk the talk on Sunday, it walks the walk from Monday all the way through Saturday.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, after almost 2,000 years, why does this short, intense letter still matter so much? It's because James pulls faith out of the clouds and plants it right here, in the dirt of our daily lives.
At the end of the day, this is the message. James is giving a universal call to action. He's basically arguing that whatever we say we believe in our heads has to be visible in the work of our hands and the direction of our feet. Our faith is meant to be something you can see, something tangible.
And so the letter finishes by turning that huge question right back on us. It's not just some historical document, it's a mirror. James forces every single one of us to ask, if faith without works is dead, what does my life say about the state of my faith? How is it showing up right now in my actions?